Hello everyone, welcome back to Super Medico. My name is George and I'm a doctor / part-time YouTuber, and today we're going to talk about a really important question. Is MBBS worth it? So yeah, this is not something new topic that came into my mind. It's been on my mind since about 2-3 years, and every time, especially if something happens to the doctor community, something bad, some violence or something, everybody, all of my friends ask, make a video, man, tell all these kids not to come into MBBS, we fell into it, it's a trap, now save these kids from all of this. So and like I've been waiting to get some clarity on a lot of stuff, and today I think I have. So I've talked to some of my friends, seniors, and also people of other professions. I've seen them, what they're doing, and that's how I came into making this video. My opinion might be different from yours, and I totally accept that. So just take this just as an opinion. Don't take this as the fact or something. So if you ask me, is MBBS worth it? I'm not gonna say yes or no. I would be somewhere in the middle. So I would say yes, but whether it's worth sacrificing so many years of entrance, 5-6 years of repeating and all, it's not worth it. But that's right, somewhere in the middle. It's not the worst course. It's not the worst. It's not the best course. So somewhere in the middle. So why I'm going to talk about all of that. So this is not going to be a structured video. It's going to be more of talking from the heart. So please bear with me for that, and please watch the full video to get the whole essence, or you would misunderstand what I'm trying to say. So the first thing is the essence. Let me talk about the job. A lot of things. We talk about job, we have to talk about the inside the job, we have to talk exactly what the job is, the lifestyle, then getting jobs, then the salary. So let's start first the job. So as a doctor, you can either be a doctor with MBBS, you can either be a doctor who has done some post-graduation after MBBS. That's a basic thing. Again, post-graduation, there are different types. There are clinical and paraclinical post-graduations. So a clinical post-graduation or an MBBS doctor, both of them essentially do the same thing. That means seeing patients, treating patients, being in the hospital, doing rounds and all that. Now the paraclinical people, again, there are two types. One set of people are associated with labs, like your pathologist, your microbiologist, okay. The others are more related with teaching and research, for example, anatomy, biochemistry, community medicine, and there are departments like forensic medicine that are involved with autopsies, and also there's a myriad of stuff under the medical field. The jobs are, what do you say, a lot of jobs are there, and so this is a basic job. So your job would be depending on what you're aspiring to be. So yeah, when I joined MBBS, my aim was to actually be a neurologist, but with time, my aspirations and stuff changed. So that can all change, but essentially, if you're getting into MBBS, understand that most likely you would be in a clinical. Most likely you would be taking up a clinical, because if you're as an MBBS doctor, at least for 1 year, you have to work as a house surgeon. So anyways, you have to do clinical work. There's no doubt on that. And if some emergencies like COVID come, all these paraclinical doctors will be forced to clinical work. So there's no doubt about that. But so you should know that. So you have to see blood, you have to see patients, you would have night duties, you would have day duties, you might not have Sundays off. Some hospitals do give 1 week, like as a PG or house surgeon, no off, okay. But as a doctor, when you work at a job, minimum 1 day a week you'll get an off. That's it, 1 day a week. So that is there. That could be a Sunday, may not be a Sunday. That's a different story. You would have day OPs, you would have night OPs, evening OPs, casualty. So especially if you're as a surgeon, or maybe some departments, or even a cardiologist, and you might be called at night. So when you're at home going to sleep, if some patient comes in the casualty with an emergency procedure, something has to be done, you have to come and stuff like that. So that's a job actually. So it's a pretty hectic, and it's a pretty risky job also, because you're not dealing with machines, you're dealing with lives of people. If something happens to that, that's someone's dad, that's someone's mom, that's someone's brother or sister or partner or a friend. And so there are a lot of emotions involved. As a doctor, you might, you would understand this more, like when someone in your family feels a disease, and when you go to the hospital, and if they get cured, you feel the happiness, right? So that's the weight of responsibility placed on a doctor. If something bad happens, again, the doctor would be responsible. People can sue you, you have to pay a lot of money in court, as compensation and also. Yeah, so it's a really risky profession, and also it's kind of rewarding because you're actually with life. You're the people who bring life into the world. As a if you're a as an MBBS doctor, you do deliveries, or as a gynec, you do deliveries, cesarean section, all that. Bring life into the world. You take care of life until the very end. It has both its pros and cons. That's what I'm trying to say. Now coming to the lifestyle, again, as I told, it's a pretty hectic lifestyle, and again, to be honest, that depends a lot on your choice, because your money is dependent on the amount of work you do. There's no doubt about that. Okay, if you want money, you have to work more, because if you work more only, more patients come, you'll be able to get more money, and the hospital will also make money, and they'll also give you the salary, more salary. But if you want, you can choose your time. You could reduce your working hours, you could give time for your family, you can do all that, but that would be the cost of a reduced salary. Because I have seen cardiologists who work at 1 lakh per month. They have less number of duties and all, but you should imagine the cardiologist is actually studied a lot. It's about 13 years of studies, and 1 lakh for that is a bit low, but he chose lifestyle over salary. And there's other cardiologists who work at 2 or 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs maybe, but they are on call 24/7. They have a lot of duties and all. So you understand, right? It's all based on the choice. And sometimes when you're low down, like when you're just a junior doctor, you might not get enough opportunities to make choice, or maybe when you make choices, you won't get a good cut of it or a good salary based on that. But as you get up the ladder, you have more say in your duty timings and all. So that's what I've seen. So at the stand, honestly, this is kind of the case with all professions. One thing that I've noticed about medical people, like some tell we should have done engineering or something. But the true thing is, all professions are kind of like that, and that's what I'm talking about, getting jobs. Before, yeah, definitely there was a deficiency of doctors, there were a lot of jobs, but now we have 1 lakh doctors coming out every year. The present entry is 1 lakh per year. When I entered, it was 50,000 seats 6 years back. Now it's 1 lakh seats per year. So you have much more number of doctors than needed coming out. Jobs are not there that much. So again, that's an issue. And if you are aspiring for government jobs, again, it gets called every 5 or 6 years. So again, if you're lucky, you would get. If you want private jobs also, there's an issue. So there's a lot of competition going on for the jobs. And that's actually there in all professions. It's not like it's exclusive to medical profession. That's what I want to be clear about. If you ask your friends who are doing engineering and all, they would tell you, like, you have to upskill yourself, then only you would get jobs and stuff like that. So that's the reality even in medicine also, right? So that's something you need to know. It's not a valley of diamonds or heaven down here. It's not a magic land. It's going to be a tough ride. The other thing about salary, I've discussed with some of my engineering friends, and also the starting salary an MBBS graduate earns, at least in Kerala, is pretty decent compared to the salary of an engineering fresher. Very decent. And sometimes even an engineer, after 2 years of work experience also, they might not be able to get a salary as much as a doctor in most cases. There are exceptions. Sometimes the engineers get more and all, but as a doctor, you have a lot of potential to increase your earnings. That's the thing I want to talk about. Like, this would be a bit controversial thing, what I'm going to say, because you can't say exactly, like, there are going to be doctors who are going to earn a lot, there are doctors who are going to earn average, there are doctors who are going to earn less. It all depends on the amount of patients you get. That's the basic thing, your communication, your skills, your patients, how have they trusted you. If you're good enough, you're getting patients, you would earn well. There's something about job security also. Like, even in COVID, healthcare jobs were not affected, but there were jobs in many other sectors that got affected. And even if someone kicks you out of a hospital, at least you can set up a clinic. Again, it depends on specialty, but just if you want to practice as minimum MBBS doctor, definitely you can, at least you can do some consultation, right? And you can work at small clinics and all. And see, I'm not saying that, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Just saying that I don't know how to tell this basically. It's because it's pretty controversial. Like, if I can easily say that, doctors don't earn much, like that, but that's not the truth actually. I've seen doctors earning well. I've seen, even engineers or like there's something called the grass is greener on the other side. Yeah, that's the exact thing. It's basically the grass is green on the other side phenomenon. All doctors think that their contemporaries are doing engineering and all making lots of money. That's not the case. You ask your engineering friends and they are also in the similar position as you. They're also looking for a salary raise and stuff like that. The problem with doctors mainly is that we don't have a proper career guidance, or we don't have a proper salary negotiating skills and all. A lot of doctors settle with very less, like especially because these people in HR and all, they know that these doctors don't have that skill to negotiate because they don't have the experience. They have not gone for interviews and all. But your engineering friends and all, they have gone for many interviews. They've seen videos on how to negotiate and all. But doctors, as we haven't done all that. So what happens is we get misused. We get used because of that. And like personally, I've been to a lot of interviews, and in the starting and all, I used to demand for a minimum salary, the standard salary. So because there's a lot of competition, there are a lot of doctors who are willing to work below the standard salary. And that is how with time the salary decreases. You're giving the management an opportunity to reduce your salary. And there's a lack of unity among doctors. If all the doctors decide, no, I would not settle for a low salary, we all want the minimum salary, then management would give. But there are doctors who go behind their backs and settle for the low salaries, and that's what's happening nowadays. If you've seen nursing association, all they fought and they have increased their salary to a very good amount. That's actually in some places more than the doctor salary in Kerala. That's because they have unity. They decided that we won't cheat each other. We would fight for what we need. That's not there in the doctors community. That I totally agree. Even I have faced that. Like when I went for interviews, I actually cleared all the steps, and even the chairman told I would be selected. But the HR person over there who told my salary was very low, and I told I can't work for that salary, and so then I didn't get selected just because of that. But there were 5 others there, so I didn't get a call back. So that means one of them were ready to do at that low salary. So that's the situation nowadays. So, but I stuck with that. I need a no salary, and after 2-3 interviews I got at a hospital who were ready to pay that salary. So that's what I told. If you know your worth, if you state your worth, you would get it. But if you want, you can go for low stuff and all, and then you can't complain about its low salary and all. So that's there. That is totally there. That's the problem of this community. What to do now? Talking about competition, there are a lot of doctors coming out every year. Definitely, totally. And it's not just doctors, every profession is there because the population is increased, everybody is increasing. So the only way of survival is survival of the fittest. If you're a good doctor, if you have good skills, you will get job. It's cool. Similarly, if you're a good engineer, if you've upskilled yourself, you will get jobs, right? So it's not a thing about not getting jobs. It's about upskilling yourself, selling yourself for the job. If you are doing good, if you do well, you would get jobs. And as an MBBS graduate, it would be difficult to get jobs in the starting, but once you get the hang of it, you would get jobs. That's what I understand from the current scenario. And if you take PG, again, there are specialties that are booming with a lot of jobs. There are specialties that don't have any other jobs. So it's like that. Every profession is like that. That's the thing. We can't, it all depends on what we want to do and stuff like that. And the one thing that I would like to say is like an engineer can do anything, even a doctor can also do anything. I know doctors who have done businesses, who created businesses and earning crores of money, nothing related to healthcare. And there are those who are related to healthcare earning crores. There are those who have gone to marketing, ads, and also the even to IAS, and also the avenue is huge. You can do whatever you want as a doctor. You have that, some trust element or something. I don't know. But you can do anything you want. The next thing I would like to talk about is violence. Yeah, violence is something that is pretty much increasing nowadays, and that is might be exclusive to the medical profession. So you have a risk of that. So remember that while getting into this, and I hope the rules and all come into place and are strictly enforced. And such. We don't want more people losing their lives. We don't want people being hurt. I hope proper implementations happen so that future we have a reduction of all these problems. Now coming to public appeal. In earlier times, we have seen doctors being considered as gods or like they know everything, high respect in society, but that is gone now. The main reason is people are more educated. So they have an idea of the treatments, they have an idea of the diseases. So especially if a doctor does a mistake, it's pretty easily identifiable because they Google it up. So in one way, it's a good thing because see, we need doctors to be competent, right? It's not like a doctor does mistakes, so it's fine. No, we need doctors to be competent, then only we can get good healthcare. So the most important is that we need to bring a change in our stuff is communication. You communicate properly with the patient. You tell why you are giving this, what is the disease. That has to come, and slowly patient will start trusting you. And you have both phases of this. Yeah, definitely there's a section of society like how you say that they don't have a general distrust of doctors, but you can also see cases where people like love doctors. Recently there was a news clipping that I saw recently, like 2 weeks back. A lot of a gynecologist was issued transfer from a Taluk hospital in Kerala to another district, and a lot of pregnant women came and protested in front of the hospital that they should not transfer the doctor because he was so good. They love the doctor so much, they want his treatment, so they're like worried like this doctor is going to another district. Now what will they do? Will the new doctor be as good as them? Because the care not from the patients, the recognition you would get if you're a good doctor. I worked with such good doctors who communicate really well, who empathize with the patient, give them their space, encourage them in taking the treatment decision. So if you are like that, people will trust you. So I generally ignore the fact that people say that public has a mistrust. That's because of some people. There are a lot of bad people in the doctors community, that I totally agree, and media plays a part too. But if we set an example, if we are able to convince our patients, then you got some good people who will have your back. Now coming to mental health, right? It's a pretty risky profession. You play with life, you have a lot of stress, you have high hectic duty hours, and there are a lot of ego and toxicity in medicine. The seniority stuff, doctors talking bad about each other, sometimes backstabbing them, as I told, the salaries and also. A lot of stuff are there. It's not like a really wonderful set of people. And again, yeah, and definitely the stress and all is there. So mental health is an issue in the doctors community, especially when you're training as a student, as a house surgeon, as a postgraduate. Your stress levels are more. We have seen a lot of number of suicides, especially in the past years, and it would surprise, like even though they were doctors, they knew these were the signs of depression. They knew that they had to see a psychiatrist. They didn't do. It's not like a general public who are not educated or aware that suicide can be prevented. Doctors, they have studied everything and they went to that stage. So you can understand that there are genuine mental health issues. Even having a mental health issue is a stigma even now. Even though doctors are aware, there are stigma against psychiatrists, there are stigma against mental health care, and also that needs to change. It will take time, and all doctors have a role to play in that. Coming to personal life. Personal life is totally based on choice. Let me tell you, there are doctors who do it all, there are doctors who do nothing. Totally based on your choice, what you want in your life. As with any other profession, you can become a workaholic, you can enjoy your hobby. So again, as you scale up the ladder of your seniority, you would have more time. But even as a junior, if you want, you can make your calls, make your shots at the cost of your salary. When you're a senior, your salary won't be affected. That's the only pro thing. But what are the use of dying early, right? Especially we have a lot of doctor deaths in the past few years. All of them working really hectic jobs. So just think for yourself whether you want that or whether you're ready to call your shots. But that will be the cost of a salary cut. Whether you're okay with that. Again, all these things are there, right? So yeah. Personal life also include family things. So I've seen doctors who are not able to attend their son's graduation. And I've seen doctors who actually drop their kids at school. I've seen a doctor like first day of KG, he went and took the admission on the first day. He went for morning some program in school and all. So again, it's a choice. A choice can be done. It all depends on how flexible you want, and also again, it's possible. And again, but in some professions of doctors it can't be possible, like if you work in emergency or you work as a some with the casualty calls and all, you have to go if a call comes. You don't have any other option. So again, it depends on where you work. Now next is studying. It's a lifelong of studying once you become a doctor. There is no escape from that. NEET UG, MBBS 6 years, NEET PG. PG, if you want to do super specialty, NEET SS, then super specialty again. Does it finish after that? No. Because medical science improves so fast. Every 5-10 years, the whole treatment changes. So we have something called CMEs, continuing medical education, that happens where the latest treatments and all are discussed. So you have to be a student for life once you enter MBBS. So if you're ready to study, then only join. Because unless you study, you won't be updated. If you are not updated, you won't know the latest treatments. So studying is inevitably a part of being a doctor. Now the next thing is the point which I already talked about is the toxicity and ego. There's a lot of egoism, there's a lot of seniority stuff. That's the other cause for ragging. I've talked about ragging in a different video, so follow that. And ragging is not just in the college MBBS days. In the profession also, there's a lot of ragging. You can't tell anything against your senior. Like there's a lot of issues and all. But when will all that stop is when one doctor takes a step, and not only one doctor, seeing that one doctor's example, his or her colleagues also take that step, and slowly this toxicity and all can be removed. But again, taking such a decision is difficult for a lot of doctors, and also I hope it happens. I want this toxicity and all these things to end, so better mental health and all can be achieved, but it requires action of many doctors, so let's hope it happens in the future, right? And another point is the time to set it. As I told, like suppose you want to become a cardiologist, so your NEET UG, you prepare for, okay, first repeat you get it, then MBBS 6 years, so totally 7 years now, then NEET PG again 1 year you repeat, 8, PG 3 years, 9, 10, 11, 1 year bond, 12, minimum is 1 year bond, some places 2, 3, 10 year bonds, okay, 12, you have to do NEET SS, again 1 year you need 13 years, then you do PG 14, 15, 16, 1 year of senior residency 17. So it takes about 17 years to become a cardiologist. So you start at 18 years or 17 years, just imagine the time it will come. Now there's another option. If you get all in your first attempt, you save 3 or 4 years. Agreed, done. But the thing is, that's the time it takes to start your practice. Imagine, after the 17 years, 16 years, you start being a doctor, start being a cardiologist. You start earning 1 lakh, 2 lakh per month, and might not be enough, right? In the future, I don't know how the salary is going. Unless the doctors fight and stay their ground, our salary will decrease and everybody else will increase. That's the current how it's going. So I have no idea what will be in the future. So that long you take to study to start your career. So it takes at least 5-6 years to settle, right? So by the time you settle, you will be about 35, not 35, 40 years usually. So that's an issue, because most of the people get married by 27, 28 years, right? So especially the stipend you get at PGs are not much, maybe 50,000, 45,000. As a super specialist, you might get, or super specialty PG, you might get 75,000 or something. It might not be enough to sustain a family of 4, maybe sustain even your parents and all. It's a bit difficult. And I've actually seen doctors actually rely on their parents for money, even at an age of 35 years and all. So that is something you have to know, especially if you're aiming for such branches. You might have high returns in the future, but at the present, for like 10, 15 years, you have to rely on your parents for money, which is a bit difficult, especially if you are married and you have a family to support. If you have kids, schooling fees are increasing everywhere. So there's that thing. And yeah, but again, there are again specialties where you can settle early. But why I'm talking about the settling early is there. Because there are a lot of other professions where you can settle much early. Suppose you're taking as a nurse. After 4 years, you can usually settle, right? If you want, you can do an MSc. That depends on you, but still you can settle with a comfortable salary actually, especially abroad. Then there are other jobs like engineering and all, but actually even engineering now they're taking MTech and MBA, so I'm not going to comment about that. So even they have many years. Yeah, I guess I covered a lot of stuff, and I don't know if it was all properly arranged and all. So the gist of all of things, 2 things. First, if you're planning to repeat for becoming a doctor, maybe repeat 1 year at max, that's okay. But don't repeat more than that. I've seen people putting 5-6 years. Why, man? There are much better jobs you could have joined and you could have started earning, right? So 1 year it's fine. Above that, MBBS is not that much worth it. Unless you are like, you want to do MBBS, nothing else life will make you happy, then okay, bye, you do MBBS. I'm not going to tell you don't. You do whatever you want, that's fine. But I'm just saying, it would be better to achieve it in first attempt. That's the most likely. Second thing is, actually all jobs have these issues what I'm talking about. Except for maybe violence and maybe studying thing. Most of the jobs have this. Even studying, like most of the jobs you need to upskill yourself, right? Settling, that might not be seen in other jobs. You will be able to settle early. So the thing is, make a wise choice. So you just heard some points I said. Listen to them. Think about them. Maybe shadow a doctor. That'd be really nice. If you have a doctor who you can stay with for 1 day or 2 days, work with them. Like not work, actually shadow them. Like as a shadow, see what is happening. Are you liking it? Then maybe choose it. Like, I hope it helped you in some way. And if you're becoming doctors, welcome to this field. So glad to see you. And if you are done with it, I'm happy I helped in that decision. So see you in the next video.